Dear students, welcome back. In the previous session, we have discussed about introduction and phases of the GAIT cycle. And what do you mean by GAIT cycle? Isn't it? So, normally the GAIT cycle includes the activities that occur from initial contact of one lower extremity to the point at which the same extremity contacts the ground again. Okay, so this GAIT cycle is having two phases. One is stance phase, another one is swing phase. So this stance phase occupies 60% of the total GAIT cycle, whereas the remaining 40% by the swing phase. Okay, yes, in the stance phase what happens? So the limb is or some portion of the foot is in contact with the supporting surface at all the time. So you can see the arrow marks here. So that one we have discussed earlier. So this is called stance phase. In the case of swing phase, here the reference extremity will not be in contact in this swing phase. Okay, so this is these are the two subdivisions of the GAIT cycle. Okay, now we will see in detail about each subdivisions. Again, the stance phase is further divided into some events and also some subphases in the stance phase, whereas in the swing phase is also divided into some events there. So now we are going to discuss about the first stance phase and its events and subphases, and then we will move on to the swing phase. Okay, yes. Now we will see the events in the stance phase mainly includes 5 stages. So before we are going to study the stance events in stance phases, so it has some terminology related to this subdivisions which are given in GAIT. That should you people should understood well. So it is having two kinds of terminology. One is the traditional terminology, and another one is another set of terminology related to the GAIT, which was introduced by this RLA, that is which is a GAIT laboratory at Ranco Los Amigos Medical Center, that is RLA. So we are going to discuss both the traditional terms as well as the RLA terms simultaneously. So you have to know both the terminology because these two terminologies are using at the present time. So you should be able to recognize whatever terminology may be. So these terminologies are related to this events of the stance phase, okay, or events of the swing phase, or any subphases which are present in the stance phase. Like that you have to analyze the terms. Okay, so here there is some difference between the traditional terminology and the RLA terminology. Here in the traditional terminology refers to points in time, I will explain you. And RLA terminology refers to lengths of time. RLA defines the lengths of time, whereas traditional terminology refers to the points in time. It refers to points in time. So So we are going to see these two terminologies. So the events in the stance phase will constitute 5 events. One is the initial contact, okay, or we can call it as, in traditional term, it is heel strike. And then next one is flat foot. Third one is mid stance, we can say mid stance. And then next one is heel off and toe off. These are the 5 traditional terminologies. So traditional terminologies refers to points in time. That means, oh, this is the point of heel strike, this is the point of flat foot, this is the point of mid stance, this one is heel strike, this is toe off. Like that, the terminology refers to the points. Whereas in the RLA, that is, which refers to the lengths of time. That means, so from first event to the second event, how much time it has been taken. Okay, or if the person is standing at this phase for some time, so how much the length of this time the person is standing in that position. So that one is referred to RLA. So that means RLA terminology refers to lengths of time, whereas traditional terminology refers to points in time. So now we are going to see both the terminologies simultaneously. Okay. Yes. So what is the first event in the stance phase? That is, in traditional term, it is called as heel strike. What you called? Heel strike. So this is the first event, that is heel strike. Heel strike refers to the instant at which the heel of the leading extremity strikes the ground. So we are considering the right extremity. So this is the point where the heel of the leading extremity strikes the ground. That is called as heel strike. In RLA, the term he is going to change from heel strike to initial contact. So initial contact refers to the instant the foot of the leading extremity strikes the ground. Here also we can get the same kind of definition. So in normal gait, the heel is the point of the contact. For example, if any people in any abnormal gaits, it is possible for either they will not put heel, they can put any part of the foot, any part of the foot. It may be a toe, it may be entire foot, like that. They may strike at this point during the starting of the gait. So they have considered it as initial contact instead of heel strike. In normal terminology, you can write heel strike only. Okay, both heel strike and initial contact, both are right for normal gait. In any abnormal gait, we have to definitely describe it as initial contact. Why? Because any part of the foot may contact initially on the ground, not as heel. Okay, so that is the difference. So heel strike is the traditional term and initial contact is the RLA term. Okay, yes. So what is the next event? First one is the heel strike and second one is the flat foot. Flat foot occurs immediately after heel strike and is the point at which the foot fully contacts the ground. So here, if you can see here, the foot is fully contacts with the ground. Okay, so this one, so here in the RLA, the entire from heel strike to flat foot, there is some period of time is present, that is called as loading response. They have given a term called as loading response or heel strike phase. What do you call as heel strike phase? Okay, so that means it starts with the initial contact and ends with the flat foot. So that phase is called as, that length of time is called as, or the length of the phase is called as heel strike phase, or this is also called as weight acceptance or loading response. So it is called as heel strike phase, and it is also called as loading response or weight acceptance. So if you see the exact explanation of this phase, so the loading response occurs immediately after the initial contact and continues until the contralateral limb lifts off the ground at the end of the double support. Lifts off the ground at the end of the double support phase. This is called as loading response. Okay, so in traditional terms, we got heel strike, and the second event is flat foot flat, we can say foot flat. And if you see the RLA terminology for heel strike, it is called as initial contact, and the phase, we can call it as between heel strike and foot flat. The phase is called as heel strike phase, which begins at heel strike to foot flat, and this period is referred to as weight acceptance or loading phase. Okay, and which is defined as, which begins at the initial contact and ends with the contralateral extremity lifts off the ground at the end of the double support. So I have already explained the double support in the previous session. Now we will move on to the next thing, that is next event, that is called as mid stance. So this is called as mid stance. So mid stance is the point, okay, at which the body weight is directly over the supporting lower extremity. That means the contralateral limb is in air, the entire body weight is in the reference extremity, that is supporting lower extremity. This is the mid stance point. Okay, that is event. This is the traditional term. If you see RLA of this phase, yes. So if you can consider the RLA here, the mid stance, here also the term given for this phase is called as mid stance phase. This mid stance phase starts with flat foot. Okay, flat foot of the gait cycle, which begins with when the contralateral limb lifts off the ground and continues to a position in which the body has progressed over and ahead of the supporting limb. That means, so this point is referred in the traditional term, that is event in stance phase, that is mid stance. But in the case of RLA, so it is starting from the flat foot to the contralateral limb, which is progressed and ahead the supporting extremity. So here this one is supporting. So at the flat foot stage, the limb is on the back side, okay, and then it comes in the mid stance point, it comes nearer to the below the trunk, and then it is ahead of this supporting limb. So the entire phase is called as mid stance phase. Okay, and next, so this is RLA term. Now we will move on to the next event, that is called as heel off. This is the point, that is the traditional point, heel off. So how it is explained as, so the heel off is the point at which the heel of the reference extremity leaves the ground. Here you can see the heel is leaving the ground. So heel off is the point at which the heel of the reference extremity leaves the ground. Okay, and next one is the toe off. After heel off, toe off is the point at which only the toe of the ipsilateral, that means the reference extremity, is in contact with the ground. So these are the 5 events in the stance phase. Now we will see the next subphase of the stance phase, that is RLA, that is called as push off phase. What you can call it as push off phase. Okay. So this heel off is termed as, terminal swing. What you can call as, the heel off is termed as terminal stance. Sorry, not swing, terminal stance. So here you can see the terminal stance, how they have explained this terminal stance. Terminal stance is the period from the end of the mid stance. It is the end of the mid stance. Okay, from end of the mid stance to a point just prior to initial contact of the contralateral extremity or following heel off to the reference extremity. Okay, so simply we can say terminal stance is the period from the end of the mid stance to the heel off. Okay, next one is called as toe off point. This toe off point is also referred to as pre-swing phase in RLA. So this RLA describes this toe off as pre-swing is the period from just following heel off to toe off. This is the period between the heel off to toe off, that is called as pre-swing. So if you see the terminologies and also the traditional terminologies and RLA terminologies, the initial contact in RLA and heel strike in the traditional, flat foot in or foot flat in traditional, and loading response in RLA, mid stance and mid stance phase. In traditional, heel off is called as terminal stance and toe off is referred as pre-swing. Okay, and the subphases we have described in related to RLA is heel strike phase or loading phase, mid stance or mid stance phase, and push off phase. So you can explain like this. So these are all related to the stance phase, both traditional as well as RLA. So if you want to mention only in any one of the thing, no problem. If you can mention both the ways, very good. Okay, next one we will move on to the swing phase. Yes, the swing phase, it includes three stages in related to traditional. One is acceleration, mid swing and deceleration. So acceleration, mid swing and deceleration. Okay, so these are the three things which are going to occur in swing phase, which are related to the traditional terms. So now we will see this acceleration. In RLA, this acceleration is called as initial swing. So now first we are going to define the acceleration in traditional term. Acceleration begins once the toe of the reference extremity. So the acceleration is going to start here. Extremity leaves the ground and continues until mid swing. So this acceleration is continues to the mid swing. Okay, or the point at which swinging extremity is directly under the body. The swinging extremity is directly under the body. Here if you can see, so both in this case and this picture, so here the limb is away from the body. Here you can see there is some hyperextension we can see, but in this stage, that is the next stage, that is called mid swing, which is directly below the trunk. Okay, so this is the stage of acceleration. Okay, if you see the definition of RLA, initial swing begins at the same point as acceleration and continues until maximum knee flexion. Continues maximum knee flexion of the reference extremity occurs. If you can see the knee flexion here, so this is very less at the initial stage of acceleration and it was somewhat increased, and at the end of acceleration it attains maximum knee flexion. This is the definition of RLA given to this initial swing. So what is the next phase? That is called as mid swing. So now we will move on to the mid swing. Yes, so this mid swing occurs when the ipsilateral extremity, that means the reference extremity, passes directly beneath the body. So here this is the final stage of the acceleration, that is the starting stage for mid swing. And if you see the definition of RLA, so mid swing is the period immediately following maximum knee flexion and continues until the tibia is in vertical position. So this is only the point of mid swing. Now what is the definition here? This tibia, again it has to come to vertical position. So when it comes to vertical position, now we will see according to RLA. So this is the mid swing, isn't it? So maximum knee flexion. So according to RLA, this tibia which is in obliquely, that is in knee flexion, which comes, that means it is a phase, isn't it? That means it is a time period. So that this mid swing continues until the tibia is in vertical position. So here this is the position of the tibia, that is in vertical position of the tibia. Okay, so what is the next phase which is related to this normal traditional thing, that is deceleration. So here you can see the deceleration. Okay, so this one is deceleration, and in RLA this is called as terminal swing. So deceleration occurs after mid swing when the tibia passes beyond the perpendicular and the knee is extending and prepare for the heel strike, and it is prepared for the heel strike. That position is called as deceleration according to the traditional term. According to the RLA, this is called as terminal swing. Terminal swing includes the period from the point at which the tibia is in vertical position, isn't it? So vertical position to a point just prior to initial contact. So that means up to here. So again it becomes from vertical to more vertical, and which is prepared to initial contact of that limb, reference extremity. With this, one gait cycle is going to complete. So initial contact is with the heel strike of this right leg, and after ending of this gait cycle, which is going to end up with this again heel strike or initial contact of the same right extremity. So this is all about the gait cycle, the events which are taking place in the gait cycle, and also the subphases of the stance phase, and then we have seen the phases of swing phase in related to both traditional terms as well as RLA term. You can write like events like heel strike is you can define it as in traditional term, and you can define initial contact by RLA. Okay, like that for everything you can write in your exams. Okay, so this is about the gait cycle. Okay, and we can also see how much percentages, at what percentages of gait cycle each event is going to take place. Now we will see. Now we can see the percentages related to the gait cycle. So here in this is the 0%, that is the initial contact of right one to the again right extremity to the initial contact. The entire thing is called as gait cycle. So which includes 60% of stance and 40% of swing phase. So here you can see up to here. So this one constitutes the stance phase, and after that again it leads to the swing phase. Okay, so you can find double support at this stage, and also you can find the double support at this stage. Okay, so this is the thing. So at what percentage of this the entire 100% of this gait cycle, at what percentage of this gait cycle the events are going to take place. Okay, so if you can see at the 0%, that is starting of the gait cycle, initial contact, and foot flat, that is 7%. You just only observe for the right side, don't go for left side. So because for the right side, if you are seeing one gait cycle is going on the left side, another gait cycle for that limb is going on. So just only see this reference extremity only. So for the right, at the 7% of the entire gait cycle, we can get the foot flat. At 30% of the gait cycle, we'll get the mid stance, and 40% of the gait we can get heel off, and 60% we can get toe off. So with this, the stance phase is going to complete. After that, we'll start the what you can call it as the swing phase, so which constitute remaining 40%. So if you can see in detail here, yes, so we have finished up to 60%, isn't it? Yes. And then if you see the swing phase, so 60 to 75% will get the early swing or initial swing, or we can call it as this acceleration point, and then this one is mid swing or mid swing phase. This one is mid swing phase, and afterward we can call it as late swing, that is by 85 to 100%. With this, again this limb is going to contact with this, the entire gait cycle is going to complete. Okay, so this is all about the subdivisions of the gait cycle in related to traditional terms as well as RLA terms. You can write both of the things, both are correct, and you can also mention these percentages related to the gait cycle. In the next session we are going to discuss about gait terminology. Thank you.